1938. Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, lawmakers meet in emergency session for much of the day in hopes of tackling rising costs of fuel. Plus, get ready for your power bills to go up. The Public Utilities Commission approving the LEAC surcharge Thursday night. And a pair of men are wanted in connection to 2 wildfires in the Malesu area. These stories and so much more right now on your news leader, the voice of the Marianas.
Hafide, good evening, everyone. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. Guahusi Isaiah again, and thank you for joining us. Senators met in emergency session today to deliberate on legislation meant to help reduce soaring prices at the pumps. We're joined in studio live by KUAM's Nestor Lacanto with the latest on the growing gas crisis. Good evening, Nestor.
Good evening, Isaiah. Thank you very much. As you know, there's been a strong public outcry over the rising cost of gas, and those cries have been heard loud and clear by the legislature, who, as you said, met today in an emergency session. Senators were scheduled to discuss several bills, the first by Speaker Therese Terlahi to permanently repeal the liquid fuels tax, 15 cents for the tax and 8 cents in surcharges for a total of 23 cents a gallon in savings. The Speaker sought to reassure her colleagues that it would be well worth whatever revenue would be lost annually from the Guam Highway Fund to include the remaining 4 months of this fiscal year if her bill is passed and signed by the governor.
Surely we can prioritize $8 million a year from our general fund and $2.5 million for the rest of the fiscal year, and give that back to our working families so that they can see relief at the pump.
She also specified that any road project shortfalls can be funded from excess general fund revenue, which at last count was more than $87 million. Senator Joanne Brown agreed that if they've got reassurance from local gas companies that they'll pass on the savings to consumers, they must do something.
We need to move forward one way or the other, whichever version of this bill ultimately, this bill or any other bill that we have before us that gets the support. I think it's incumbent upon us at this juncture. With what our community is being affected by, we can at least do something today.
And as of late this afternoon, senators were still in session, but they were talking about Senator Joe San Augustine's competing bill. Speaker Terlahi did pass an amendment to appropriate $2.8 million from excess general fund revenues to cover the cost of the revenue for the remaining 4 months of the year. Her bill was moved to the third reading file for later voting. As I mentioned, San Augustine's bill is now under discussion. He is also calling for lifting the liquid fuels tax, but on a temporary basis, a 6-month moratorium, and we'll have details as that develops. Back to you, Isaiah.
Thank you, Nestor Lacanto, for that report. Expect a big increase in your next power bill. The Public Utilities Commission has approved GPA's request for an increase in the fuel surcharge. Once again, KUAM's Nestor Lacanto has this report.
PUC Administrative Law Judge Fred Harecki sums up the Commission's decision Thursday approving the hike.
The first increase, effective July 1st, will raise the LEAC from roughly 21 cents up to 25 cents per kilowatt hour. And the second increase, effective September 1st, will raise the LEAC up to 29 cents per kilowatt hour.
That translates into the average monthly residential bill of $300, increasing to $350 in July and climbing to just short of $400 by September. The PUC held off on GPA's request for a third increase in November of 34 cents and will instead revisit the issue at its October meeting. But Harecki says another increase is likely.
Since January of this year, fuel has gone up over 70%. And the second problem is what we call the fuel under recovery. Right now, as we speak, the ratepayers already owe GPA $35 million for past fuel.
He says had they done nothing to adjust rates, that under recovery would have ballooned to a record $87 million by January. A GPA official said last night that they're in discussions with the governor's office about more financial help. Adelup previously provided some $15 million in ARP funds to hold down a previous rate increase. For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
With COVID numbers back on the rise, Governor Lilian Guerrero released a video earlier today addressing the recent spike in COVID cases. In her message, she reminded island residents that the pandemic isn't over yet and the virus still remains on island.
At this time, COVID hospitalizations remain manageable, and because of this, our island will stay the course. My medical advisors and I are keeping a close watch, and should the situation change, I am prepared to take the necessary steps to protect our progress, to protect our fragile healthcare system, and most importantly, to save lives.
The island's Magahaga urged residents that practicing COVID mitigations, such as mask wearing, social distancing, and staying at home when feeling sick or ill, is still the key to curbing the spread of the virus. In Superior Court, 27-year-old Eric Benjamin Salone confessed to his involvement in a drive-by shooting that occurred in Agana Heights in October of 2020. He pled guilty to the charges of possession of a firearm without a firearms ID and discharge of a firearm, and will testify in Nicholas Wayne Moore trial as part of his agreement with the government. As KUM News reported, Moore is also being charged in connection to the drive-by shooting with aggravated assault, terrorizing, and possession of an unregistered firearm. He also has a lengthy history with the law as he's involved in a slew of other cases. These include murder charges in a separate case involving Michael Castro, who was reported missing around the same time as the drive-by shooting. He's also accused of third-degree criminal sexual conduct for allegedly engaging in sexual penetration with a minor between December 2016 and January of 2017. He wounded a knife at an employee over cans of beer. 34-year-old Testim Johnny and 19-year-old Pitson Nikonis allegedly entered Oka Palos around 4 a.m. into money and attempted to steal 2 packs of beer. Johnny exited the store with a pack while a store employee managed to take back the other from Nikonis. The employee allegedly followed the pair outside and asked for the other pack of beer. Court documents state that Nikonis exited the vehicle with a knife and waved it at the employee before driving off. A Guam Police Department officer later located the pair by the Alupang Beach Towers pavilions, drinking the alcohol. Johnny and Nikonis are both charged with second-degree robbery, with Nikonis having a special allegation of possession and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. There are a pair of arson wildfires that recently occurred in Malesu, and officials with the Guam Department of Agriculture, Forestry, and Soil Resource Division is seeking the public's help in identifying 2 male individuals possibly involved. The incidents took place at 2:40 a.m. on Saturday, June 4th on the KTWR radio station property and a private property nearby. The 2 male individuals were spotted by security cameras at approximately 1:45 a.m. walking onto the property carrying flashlights and leaving the compound by 2:55 a.m. The first male was shirtless, wearing a mask, dark in color shorts, was barefoot, and carrying a flashlight. An individual may have a sleeve tattoo on his right arm. The second man was wearing a face mask, dark in color long sleeve shirt with white lighter in color words printed on the back, dark in color shorts that went past his knees, wearing dark in color closed toe shoes, and carrying a flashlight. If you have any information, you are urged to call 671-300-797-65 or 7 or Guam Crime Stoppers at guam.crimestoppersweb.com to report any tips. Still to come on your news leader, what is causing the delay of the homeless shelter in Naganya, and later our Tomas Maglotnia joins us from the opening ceremonies in Saipan for the Pacific Mini Games. These stories and more coming up next on KUAM News Primetime.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa.
takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Subscribe to our KUAM News Digest, our weekly email newsletter with all kinds of information straight to your inbox. Just subscribe and we'll make sure to keep you informed and entertained with news from the KUAM News team, what to watch on NBC and CBS, and the latest promotions from KUAM Communications. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab at the top of the homepage, register, and you're all set. Brought to you by Uno Go, Guam on Demand.
Welcome back to your news leader, the voice of the Marianas. The second homeless shelter on island continues to experience delays in opening with ongoing renovations and improvements. KUAM's Daniel Perez has the details.
It's going to be a wait for island residents on the street as the second homeless shelter in Hagana is experiencing delays in opening. According to Guam State Clearinghouse Director Stephanie Flores, it's due to supply and contractor issues, and it's something the Office of Homelessness Assistance and Poverty Prevention can't control.
We're seeing just some basic things that are not coming to Guam in a timely fashion. Then we have the compounding factor of a shortage of construction workers and competing with projects on the base and other construction projects throughout the island. It causes delays in other areas, like for example this project. So it's not just that we're waiting for supplies, we're also, the contractor that we had working on this shelter, we had them have to go while they were waiting for supplies. They went and they started another project. So they're coming back to this project, once the supplies are in.
It's not all bad news though, as the shelter needs only a few more improvements and renovations to go.
About 75% completed. That's the most recent update that I have. Is about 75% completed, but that last 25% is pretty significant. Some of the things that need to be put in are like air conditioning units, flooring, durable flooring.
Flores says that the flooring that came with the facility needed to be changed to make it ADA compliant, meaning that those with disabilities can be able to access them as well. The shelter could be done within the next month and a half, but Flores says it could take more time.
We're not rushing. We want it done right the first time. We don't want to have to worry about, put people in there and then we have to move them out because we've got to do remedial work. Once we open, we want to open and be operational.
Daniel Perez reporting for KUAM News.
The Guam Department of Education's summer school program kicked off earlier this week and is now operating smoothly after hitting a couple of hurdles in the first few days. Here's more.
Over 5,000 Guam Department of Education students are in the classrooms for the next month. The summer school program helps students catch up who may be dealing with academic challenges. GDOE Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction Joe Sanchez told KUAM News that summer school operations are doing good.
Today we had our first debriefing with our summer school coordinators, and we do this every Friday, where we clarify, any questions that they have. They can report any issues, and then we can give any instructions that we have, to provide to them. Yeah, overall, it seems to be going well.
Summer classes started on Monday, and it wasn't without any challenges, such as busing delays and lack of school supplies.
Based on the reports today, it was really just some busing issues the first few days, but then we were able to quickly address that with DPW. We're clear on, where the students are actually located. So the buses will be picking up at those particular sites. There were just some questions regarding some of the supplies that we're getting to them regarding gardening. So we're making sure that we're delivering those supplies to them this week, and some of them are going to be next week.
After projecting 6,000 students to sign up for the program, GDOE saw an increase from the 4,500 that registered initially. Sanchez noted over 5,000 students are participating.
That's 2,700. About 2,700 students for elementary, about 800 students for middle, and about 1,700 for high school.
Got it.
And the teacher increased to 180 for elementary, 60 for middle, and let me see, I think it was 115 for high school. 150 for high school. There's about 350 some teachers, overall.
Student supervision is provided by school aides, community program aides, as well as interns from the governor's 2022 Summer Employment Program. Summer class sessions conclude for elementary and middle school students on July 22nd, while high schoolers end on July 29th. Although classes have begun, Sanchez said parents can contact your child's respective schools to see if they can be accommodated into the program.
Guam organizations and officials are continuing to attempt to manage the stray animal population, a problem on the island for decades. KUAM's Kate Balser has a story.
The overflow of stray animals continues to be an issue in Guam, causing concern for both the islanders and the animals. A 2014 survey by Humane Society International predicts the amount of strays to increase on the island by 3% every year. In order to control the growing number, Tumon Harmon Mayor Luis Rivera explained that Guam organizations and government officials are searching for a solution.
These are issues that really need to be addressed, so I'm calling on our Department of Agriculture, our director, a lot, in animal control to help us to take care of these stray animals.
Mayor Rivera explained that one of their solutions is purchasing traps for community members to place on their property so that the animals can be transported to game. Guam Animals in Need in Jigo houses around 70 dogs, which is no match for the estimated 30,000 boonies wandering the island. However, there might be a solution taking flight to open up more kennel space. The Boonie Flight Project organizes flights to transport puppies from Guam all the way to the mainland to their forever homes. Co-founder Lauren Cabrera explains their upcoming mission to help the local shelter in August.
We're hoping to empty out Gain completely of dogs on that flight and send the entire shelter, cats and dogs, to rescues and adopters stateside. So that they have absolutely no dogs there.
As local organizations are working to manage the overflow of pets, the Guam Executive Director says community members can help by encouraging family members and friends to spay and neuter their pets.
GAIN is always seeking help from the community to find animals their forever home. If you'd like to foster, donate, adopt, or volunteer, go to guamanimals.org for more information. Reporting for KUAM News, I'm Kate Balser.
Kate Balser, thank you for that awesome report. In the CNMI at this hour, the opening ceremonies for the 2022 Pacific Mini Games is underway over in Saipan. Our regional correspondent and assistant news director, Tomas Manglotnia, is live on location covering the festivities. Good evening, Tomas.
Yes, Isaiah, the excitement is tangible. This is the final official ceremony marking the opening of the 2022 Pacific Mini Games here on Saipan in the Northern Marianas. It's a warm half a day as all 20 nations just made their way through the nation parade that they're waving their flags in the official opening ceremony. This is the first time the NMI is hosting the Pacific Mini Games. It's the 11th Pacific Mini Games, and right now the crowd here in the Oliai area is expected to be around 5,000. We got to speak with the CEO of the Mini Games, Bemba Bata, who shared what this Mini Games is sending a major message.
I think we're tiny and mighty. We could do what we can do with the best of our ability, and just having a premier tournament competition, elite competition with all the officials from Oceania International Federation and top athletes on the South Pacific and of course Micronesia, having them here compete at the highest level, it is an inspiration for our grassroots, and at the same time opportunity to get more events on island, not only Saipan but including Rod and Tinian.
That passion, that grit, that dedication of years and years of these athletes' work and dedication going to manifest on fields just like this one throughout the next 10 days here in the Northern Marianas for the Pacific Mini Games. We'll continue to bring you the latest as over 1,000 athletes from 20 countries are here on Saipan to compete in these mini games. Reporting live in the NMI, Tomas Manglotnia for KUAM News.
Tomas Manglotnia, thank you for that report from Saipan. And of course, you can find all our coverage on KUAM social media platforms. Stay tuned. Up next on your news leader, KUAM's Zay Delgado with your roundup of local sports, and still to come, head of the class. You're watching KUAM News.
Father's Day, Dad.
Get Dad a new smartphone on HPO with our $55 Live Unlimited plan. And get a $100 The Home Depot e-gift card. New customers can also enjoy a $100 port-in credit. GTA. We start with Dad.
Mobile offers a new and convenient way to fuel your vehicle. Pay gas and go. No need to line up inside the store. Press preset. Enter whole dollar amount without decimals. Press loyalty ID and enter your mobile number or insert Smiles card. Insert and remove payment card or tap contactless credit card. Begin fueling. And don't forget to grab your receipt. Pay gas and go. It's that easy.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Guam will be represented in both the men's and women's division for beach volleyball in Saipan. The Pacific Minigames has drawn a total of 11 countries for the sport. Australia won the gold for the men's back at the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa.
We got a chance to do some like a whole program that was set out from the Federation, which was the first time I've ever gone through something like that. And it's really helped out building our strength, our conditioning, helping with rehabilitation. I feel it's really helped us prepare for the games in a way that we haven't been able to do in the past. It's been an awesome process.
He's like the coach on the court for me. He's really showing me the ropes during practice and pulls me aside, tells me what I should work on it, get better. Chemistry is definitely better throughout the months of practicing together. Obviously, I would love to get a gold medal, but just being there as long as possible is also the goal.
Kendra Bird and Kristen Serrano represent Guam on the women's side. Kendra has represented the island before, while Kristen will be making her Pacific Minigames debut.
The prospect of getting to meet different athletes from their countries, representing their countries, is really exciting too. And I'm really excited to meet them and challenge them and hopefully win. And bringing home something is really important, I think, for both of us, because this is kind of our chance to do that and to represent our island.
It's been a great time knowing that we've gotten stronger, and then even knowing that we've prepped a lot sooner for this. We've come a long way since day one, and it's interesting seeing us play back from those first tournaments from selection to where we are now. And I'm really excited. I feel like it brings a whole new dynamic, and the chemistry between us has been really, really good. So I'm excited to see what we put on the court when we get out there.
Guam's baseball team dropped their opening game of the Pacific Minigames to the host country, NMI, 4-1. NMI got ahead early and held on for the win. Team Guam scored their lone run in the 5th inning. Team Guam plays against the Solomon Islands tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. Make sure to check out www.northernmarianas2022.com for schedules, live streams, and results.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Guma Mami is a nonprofit organization. We've been in existence for over 30-some years or more. And our programs provide housing for persons who are homeless, for persons who are at risk of in need of services. And we also provide a drop-in center for persons that need support in the community. This grant funding came at a very good time. We were able to purchase laptops for the organization. Families were able now to connect for the first time. The process went very quickly and very smoothly. For any organization that would like to apply through the GITA grant, apply. You know, it's an excellent source of funding for you.
This program provides up to $25,000 to nonprofits and public entities for projects to support healthcare, public safety, economic development, higher education, and more. We encourage community partners to visit investguam.com and apply today.
爱似火燃烧，熊熊光像火环绕。我深深陷入爱的火环，爱澎湃让我无法自拔，火焰烧烧烧，爱的火环。
Rock-fired shrimp, a flame-crafted favorite. Now back at Panda Express.
Visit the Agana Shopping Center.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Welcome back. We continue with our Class of 2022 feature, Head of the Class. Tonight, we showcase the valedictorian for Notre Dame High School.
Congratulations, Class of 2022, presented by the University of Guam.
My name is Kai Demian. I attend Notre Dame High School in Talapopo, and I'm the valedictorian of the graduating class of 2022. Some highlights of my high school career were just being with my friends and hanging out with them, and also our Songfest experience. All my teachers at ND were amazing, but one that really made a difference in my life was probably Mr. Tan. We got really close with him senior year, and he's just really cool. I don't really have an ultimate career goal. Anytime someone asks, I just say engineer, but I guess my ultimate life goal is just to be happy and not hate my job too much.
My name is Melissa Rose Torres. I attend Notre Dame High School in Talapopo, and I am the salutatorian for the graduating class of 2022. One of my main highlights throughout my high school career was participating in the rugby program at ND and going forward and winning a championship for this school year. One teacher that has made a difference in my life has been Mrs. Manahan, who has been my teacher since freshman year. She has always pushed me to do my best and never give up on me. I plan on attending UCLA and I am majoring in biology. My ultimate career goal is to become a pediatrician or anesthesiologist.
Congratulations, Class of 2022, presented by the University of Guam.
We wrap up tonight's show with your birthday shoutouts. Here's KUAM's Jason Solis.
Friday birthday wishes going out to Edward T. Guzman. Happy 18th birthday, Edward, from your family and your four-legged sister, Senahi and Bonita. We love you and please enjoy your special day. 22nd birthday wishes going out to Heiani Lynn DeGracia Crisostomo, and blessed birthdays to my daughter, coming from your mom, Julie Ann, and I love you, my Lynn, no matter what. That's a great, great shout out. And belated birthday wishes going out to Sage Evan Napati Mindiola, who turned 9 on the 16th of June. Happy birthday to Sage. Hope you enjoy your day. Grandma Jennifer loves you. Mommy, Kian, Kaylee, Kynan, Carter, and Ava Rose, likewise, sending you all their love, all the best, and a happy birthday.
It's that time of the week where we announce the winner of a delicious Coatstone Creamery cake.
Hey, Riley, you and your family are the winners of this week's Cold Stone Creamery giveaway, so congratulations and happy birthday once again. Happy birthday! Riley was born, of course, on June the 13th, and I had a wonderful time wishing Riley a happy birthday this week. We'll be in touch and let your family know when you guys can pick up your prize.
You can be a part of our Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by checking out KUAM.com. And that's tonight's newscast this Friday evening. Guahusi Isaiah. Again, thank you for watching. Good night and be safe, Marianas.
Hot day, guys, and we're back. Another week, another episode, and today we sit down with Kat Perez, who is a who goes to UOG and is studying and majoring in agriculture. Kat, thank you so much and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, and then if you guys don't know, we did feature her for this week's Culture Club. So if you want to watch more of that, you can check out our YouTube and our Instagram for that segment. But for this one, Kat, it's like I said, it's more like the Culture Club, but in a longer version. We get to sit down and kind of chop it up and learn more about you and what you're doing and know what you're going to do next and stuff like that. So let's start there. Let's go to the beginning. Tell us more about you and what you do.
So aside from school, I do school and work. I do garden at home. I'm 3 years into it, so I'm trying to focus on what I what crops I really like to do and what I know the market needs or what's in demand, which for me, I really want to do root crops. Those are my favorite. Definitely calamansi and doni. Yeah, those are my three main right now that of course, I'm going to do a little bit of like the cash crops like beans, eggplant, cucumbers and stuff, but those are mainly for my consumption and me and my family.
And, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to sit down and chat with you is, of course, you're doing that. But to really get to know why you got into it, I mean, you talk about this generation. It's you don't see a lot of kids in this generation who's literally going back into the gardens and getting their hands dirty and planting and seeing their plants grow, and from there they take it off the ground and they cook it. So we don't see a lot of kids doing agriculture. There's a lot of biology and all these awesome fields that are, like I said, it's amazing that the generation is getting into those, but agriculture is one of those that it's kind of like people are just like, oh, you do agriculture? Whoa, wow, really? Why? So why? Like, what got you into, or what made you fall in love with agriculture?
So it was when I took a break from school. I was actually in the biology program, and I was working at the same time. So it was a little difficult for me because the biology program it's really intense. So I just needed a break. I needed to figure out if I really wanted to stick with biology because I didn't want to waste money, failing classes, and it's not where my heart is, So I took a 1.5-year break. Within that break, I was working mostly, and then I can't remember, but someone had given me a plant, and I was just like, oh, I haven't touched dirt since my mama was alive, And when I planted that plant, it had flourished. Like I was ecstatic to harvest just that. I think it was an eggplant, but I only was able to harvest 5 eggplants. Wow. But just within those 5 eggplants, we made the coconut milk.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
We barbecued the eggplant and you make it coconut milk, and then I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, because I love cooking too, and I love eating. Like food is something me and my family always love to be around. That's one of our favorite activities is to go out and eat. But yeah, it was after that I decided to go pick up seeds to test my limit, with it. And when I first germinated, I remember it's on my plant Instagram, but I do remember germinating pole beans. Wow. And the next day they started sprouting. And I mean, like, thinking about it now, it was like, I know that beans are one of the easiest to germinate. Right. But when I didn't know it back then, I was still really excited, and I stuck with that feeling, like, even though I know what I know now, I know my feeling was valid then because it brought me so much joy, and I decided to pursue it, and I'm so glad I did.
That's awesome. And like you said, you went from that, and then you talk about, I remember in your interview for the Kamuti is you made your first batch of, you grew it, and then you pull it out of the ground, and then you cooked it, and you had your family,
like a
taste,
little piece, even
right?
though it was a little piece. I wanted everyone to taste what I. That one took me like a year and a half to like finally have that crop.
So that's amazing. Like I said, we talk about you falling in love with agriculture and sticking to it. Like you didn't just give up. You talked about taking a break from biology, and then now getting into agriculture, and then you're continuing this. And like I said, you went from that to your garden. So let's talk about the stuff that you have in your garden.
Right now, I recently moved, so right now I'm basically starting over.
Okay.
But I do have some fruit tree seedlings. Of course, my kamuti, gotta have that. Just germinated. I have seedling trays with like tomatoes, kabocha squash, watermelon. I'm basically starting from ground zero, so I don't have much, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So how's your classes and what you're learning here at UOG, the agriculture program? How's that helped you with your gardening?
Oh, a lot of it is the necessary fertilizers, what age the plant needs, and how much of fertilizer they need, and pests. Pests was a big problem for me because, when you go online, you Google, they give you all kinds of recipes and all kinds of pesticides to use, and then it's hard to know what really works too because we're on Guam. So when I had my professors, the ag professors are like the greatest because on our group chats, if we have a problem with our plant, we just take a picture. Sir, what's this? Sir, what's this? Ma'am, what's this? So I take it's a lot more scientific. Like I know exactly what my plant needs, so I can, so they can grow better and grow more for me and my family and for my friends who I think with each year I've started planting, I was able to distribute more crops out to different, to not just my household, to my other family's household, to my friend's household,
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I like to talk about, your first ever plants. Your friend just gave you a seed and you just tried it out. And then from there, you saw something grow and saw something not only grow, but to take and eat, and that it's healthy. So that's amazing to see it went from that to now you're learning all these ways to do it the right way. Kind of,
yeah.
Right. It's like the way to treat it in this way. Like
exactly.
Don't put too much of this and that.
And placement too is a big one. Some plants like direct sun, some plants like indirect sun. So you learn a lot about spacing, and how to manage your area. Because if you have a small area, you can do like intercropping, or I forget the term, but you have like this big tree and then it has the shade, but it still gets sun from the plants, so you plant around it, and then you learn about what crops are good to plant next to each other. Companion planting.
Wow.
That's what it is.
Wow. See, all these, they're I wouldn't know that. I didn't know. I would just plant, a totally different, wrong plant next to, the plant that you're not supposed to plant next to. So I think stuff like that is cool, and I think it's literally helped you when now you're set and you have this vision and you know how to do it the right way. That way you have crops that are flourishing. So that's amazing.
The thing I learned too about agriculture, there really isn't a right way. Everyone finds their own way of doing it, and you get to the ultimate goal, which is to harvest your crop and to share it. But it's that journey when you do, you test out different recipes. Because sometimes, I used to do a Doni spray with soap, and for my aphids and mites, and it was for my cucumbers. Someone else's house, it didn't work for them.
Oh.
Yeah, so they could, the aphids there could be immune to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it's talk about that, the environment of how a plant works, or where a plant is growing, it affects it. And stuff like that. So those little details, they do count. That's awesome. Well, I just want to take a break, and when we'll come back, we'll talk more about Kat's gardening and how she went from just feeding her family, letting her family try it, to taking it out into the public, and how she's done that. So we'll talk about that coming up after this break. You're watching the One Micronesia podcast, and we'll be right back.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
And the next pick in the 2022 NBA draft is Johnny Davis. Let me tell you about Johnny Davis. This kid is special with a capital S. He's an incredible shooting guard.
The toasted cheddar chalupa is back, only at Taco Bell.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Half a day and welcome back. One Micronesia podcast. We're still here with Kat Perez, a student here at UOG who's studying about agriculture, and not only studying, but she's doing agriculture. That's so cool. I mean, you talk about somebody who's just there in class, is taking notes and doing the assignment, but at the same time, she's actually at home. She has her own garden, and her family has a garden. So that's something that's cool. So Kat, let's talk about it. Your garden at home. We learned that you started from just a seed that your friend gave you, and then now you're cooking, you're growing these amazing things that you're pulling out of the ground and feeding, and then you're having your family try it, and then now you've gone from that to kind of getting out to the public. You talk about in your segment of Culture Club, you talked about how people are asking you for seeds. So let's talk about that. Like how did you go from just Kat and garden at home to Kat out in the public and sharing with the community?
So when I started my planting journey, I started my Instagram at the same time, my plant Instagram. I wanted to, document my failures and success, all the good and bad. And it was through that, when I was posting, I was germinating a lot of seeds, and I had way too much for my plot, or for me to manage at the time. And so I was like, does anybody want? And then I was like, maybe I should try selling, like $1, $2 for the plant itself. And then I realized the plants do good for selling, but for me, I felt it was better if I grew the plant and then I could sell the produce.
Wow. So
that's where I was at with my Instagram too. I was letting my plants grow, and then I would post what I'd harvest.
And how was that? So, like I said, you felt this feeling of happiness when you had your family try your kamuti for the first time. You have it being cooked, right? Like a piece each, right? And then how does that feeling when you take all these produce that you've grown over time to the public, and how is that reaction from the people coming to your booth or people you seeing or buying your stuff, your produce?
I remember this one season I was growing cigadillas, and man, they were getting this big. And usually when cigadillas get this big, it's hard. But mine were still, it was perfect.
Wow.
And so when I was giving to my friends now, one of my best friends, she was like, Tinanam Diaries Sigadisis is guaga, you know, is beast. And I was like, yeah, it is. That fertilizer or that compost is working, you know, because that's also when I started my composting.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, like I'm saying, like you've learned so much from just like using whatever dirt is there. And now you're adding into it, and not in a chemical way, but you're putting in the right stuff to grow these amazing produce. So that's
It's
awesome.
like my food waste from home going
Wow.
back into my plants to feed my plants, and then it's going to feed me in turn. That's the whole cycle of.
So now I'm thinking you're buying these from the store, but no, this is you're literally making at home.
Yeah, my compost. I have a small little like a kind of like a wheel, like a barrel thing that you can just turn when you need to.
Oh.
So that's what I do with my compost. So it's just you need your greens and your browns. Greens is the nitrogen source, and your browns are your carbon source. Yeah, so that's just like brown leaves, paper. I mostly use paper and brown leaves, and then the greens is the food waste from when we're cooking. So like the onion peels, garlic peels.
Wow.
Rinds, banana peels, all that stuff.
Wow. I mean, like I said, it's so cool to see like how you've evolved as a gardener, pretty much. You know,
Yeah.
You know, from just learning how to, like, I remember in the segment, it was something that really meant a lot to you when you were with your grandparents, and you were telling a story about how you would sit on your grandma's lap, and then your grandpa will make the hole, and then you just pass over the plant. And so you went from that to actually doing it, and now you're doing big things. That's so cool.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So you're out there, and then let's talk about because you do honey too. So now you've kind of evolved. You talked about going from just growing the smallest of plants to now you've evolved into, you've added beekeeping to
my life.
Yeah,
now I'm getting into
so cool.
livestock. It's crazy.
So let's talk about that. How did you get into beekeeping? And
so there's a beginner farmer and rancher development program with the Research Corporation of Yogi, which is new. I think this is the first time they've ever had a program like this, and I'm taking like all the opportunity I can with this program, like doing the internships and the workshops that they do. And this beekeeping workshop was one of them. Someone had reached out to me on Instagram if I was interested in the workshop.
Wow.
Because I had already been pursuing plants for so long, and so they knew like my passion for agriculture was there. And I knew nothing about beekeeping at the time, and she had told me that we were gonna get a bee box. But you know, when you're really excited, you're just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then
I'm down.
I like sat down with it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have a bee box, and I'm gonna get honey. So I had to then I started planning out where I'm gonna put it. And then I didn't dive into much about what the biology of bees and what they need, because I didn't know what species of bee we had here. So when that workshop came and Chris Rosario did that presentation, we learned about bee biology, bee behavior, bee pests, what we need to do for the bees, which isn't much. They're the easiest livestock, I would think. But yeah, that's how I got into beekeeping.
Wow. And then, I remember I saw a picture that you were selling, you're selling honey. That's awesome. You're literally doing you're growing, and you're looking after these bees, and then they provide honey, and then you take that to. So how's the reaction out there when people are trying out your honey for the first time?
Oh my gosh. So when I harvested almost a little over 20 jars of honey. Some were 8 ounce and some were 16 ounce. People were already messaging, because I was posting about it as I was going through the journey of hand squeezing my honey. People were already messaging me, can I buy one? Can I buy one? Wow. So I started putting Post-its on everyone's honey. And by the time Green Night came along, I only had 7 jars. I didn't even have any I didn't think to save a jar for myself until I distributed everyone's honey that that was my friends and family. I didn't charge them. I wanted them to try my honey. That was something I was excited for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So a majority of my first batch went to my friends and family. And then they loved it. Everyone most of the feedback I got was like, oh, I could drink this with a straw. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
They said it was like, it had like a slight floral taste to it, which made sense because the area I was living had like ilang ilang, chain of love. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Like I said, from starting, and then you had your own garden. Now you're adding beekeeping and honey making to the resume there. That's a pretty epic resume. That's awesome. You know, guys, we're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk to Kat and find out what's next for her. Is she gonna add more onto that resume? Or is she gonna start? You know, I don't know what she's gonna. What else is there out of the world that I'm pretty sure she can find and try. So we'll find out what she's got next. Coming up. You're watching the One Micronesia podcast, and we'll be right back.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Hopney, and we're back. One Micronesia podcast. We're still here with Kat Perez, a student here at the OG studying agriculture. And not only that, like I said, we talk about studying. She's in class. She's learning about these things, and after she's done, she's taking it out to her garden at home and then applying all that she's learned. She went from gardening. Now she's added beekeeping to the resume there. So, and then honey making. Wow, that's amazing. So Kat, like, I know before we threw it to break, like I was teasing, like, you know, what's next? So what are you going to add on to that resume? What is next for Kat Perez?
So my dad and I are planning on becoming bona fide farmers. That is like, in January 22, that was my goal. That's my goal for the year. That's what I wanted. And then we're going to finally do it, hopefully before the fall semester starts. I'm also getting a hydroponic system set up at my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, told you guys.
And then my dad and I also want to do chicken. So since we're already cleaning the back, you know, we're going to get the chicken set up. I want a goat. That is my one goal in the next 2 or 3 years.
Get a goat. Wow.
I want a goat.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, talk about, you know, like you started with your little plants, the seed that you got. You started with little plants. You went to that to more, you know, your kamuti, to that, to beekeeping, and then now you're adding all of that. It's honestly nice. And I know you talked about it in your interview that like each year you're learning something each year as you know when you first started. So that's pretty awesome to keep doing that each and every year. That's awesome. What else is the next after? So you guys are going to add that to, how about school? What's, when it comes to, you know, what are you looking forward to?
Definitely graduating soon. Afterwards, I do want to pursue maybe a master's or PhD in plant pathology, ecology, or environmental science. I love research and I love being out in the field, which is why I work at a farm. Yeah.
So, you know, Kat, so tell us more about, you know, future pop-ups. I know there's going to be a lot of events coming up. So is there any specific events? Are you going to do more of that coming up?
I think by the time I get my bona fide farmer certificate, I'm not sure what more requirements I need to be selling my produce at Chamorro Village.
Wow.
Yeah, my friend is really encouraging me.
You should.
And then by the time I have my next harvest, which is this weekend,
Nice.
there'll be a booth and bootlegs, I believe.
Definitely, you can catch Kat at like all these other events that's coming up.
Yeah, if you just stay tuned on my Instagram, that's usually when I'll post it, when I'll be.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, continue to do that. And like I said, I mean, we did see you at your work on Culture Club at Farm to Table, which is literally amazing. And I hope other. We'll get to that in just a little bit in the next part. Where you talk to the younger generation and see to kind of encourage them to kind of get back into what we're doing, what you're doing, because it's amazing, and because it's what our ancestors were doing.
Yeah.
Like they were growing their own food and hunting and fishing. I mean, that's what the lifestyle was back then. So it's nice to see you and this generation and what you're pursuing, and hopefully people who follow your Instagram get inspired. So we'll come back. We're gonna take a break. We'll come back and we'll have you do that message to them. So you're watching the One Mic Music Podcast, and we'll be right back.
On your phone or any device with DTV Plus from Docomo Pacific. Watch live channels or stream from your favorite apps on any device, all from your home Wi-Fi. No cable lines, no hassle, more savings. All for only $35 a month with your link bundle. DTV Plus, your cable TV on Wi-Fi. Ooh, TV on phone.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Half day, and we're back. The last part of the podcast. So we're here with Kat. So Kat, the last part here is literally last remarks. So we're talking, and I think like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I said that one of the reasons why I want to get you on here because you're doing something that not a lot of people in this Asian generation are doing. Like they're getting back out there to the gardens, getting their hands dirty, growing and seeing their plants grow and pulling out of the ground and into the pot and cooking it and then having the family try it. And that's something that not a lot of kids in this generation are doing, and you're literally pursuing it. So what's the message to those to this generation and kind of like encourage them to get back into it? Because like I said, we talked about it towards the end. It was our ancestors were doing this, thousands and thousands of years ago, and we just kind of forgot because now you can just buy that at the store, So
Yeah.
kind of talk more about that.
I would say just keep on doing what you're doing, even if it's on a small scale. Not everyone can handle this, I guess, like the farming aspect of it. And even if you're doing indoor plants, that's still planting, like your hands are still getting in the dirt. You're still connecting with the land in that way, and you're connecting with the plant, and you're learning how to take care of something other than yourself. And, you're respecting that plant, A little goes a long way, especially in agriculture, and you'd be surprised how fulfilling it is when your plant is dying and then you notice it and then you take care of it and you bring it back to life and then it thrives even more. Then it just starts getting really, like you really want to keep doing it, You want to get, I want to try this plant out. I want to try this plant out. And then it starts from there.
And then also a message too, if people kind of are maybe not, they want to get into agriculture, but how can people support agriculture, especially here in Guam?
I know most farmers and farm organizations are on Instagram, so even sharing their pop-ups, go and support, the farmers markets that they do. Just sharing, even buying the groceries itself, that's supporting the farmers and that's supporting keeping the income here. And, we want to keep it local. We don't want to rely on these imported goods anymore because our people have done it before and we can do it again now. And we are doing it, you know?
Amen. All right, well, Kat, before we let you go, let the people know where they can follow you or follow your farming IG.
My farming IG is at Tananam Diaries on Instagram.
And then, like you said, that's where you're going to be posting all these events that you're going to go to. Wow, awesome. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps up another One Micronesia podcast. Kat, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you so much.
This is fun. We're out here at UOG filming this amazing episode, so thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one. My name is Victorious, and I got to say peace.
Shoots.